Hey everybody, welcome to Monday Night Live in Lexington.
First of all, thank you all for being here as well. My name is Rachel Harrison. I'm an adult programming coordinator. Kathryn Kauffman. All the way from Lexington, joining us here tonight.
My name is Kathryn Kauffman, and I'm a psychic medium here in Lexington, Kentucky. Welcome to my every Monday night show where we discover and explore what and who we are in this journey called life. Hey to all you guys over here on Instagram. Hey to Bobby. Thanks for joining me. And let's do some quick shout outs over here on Facebook. For those of you that are joining on my professional page, Kathryn Kauffman Psychic Medium, if you want to join the live chat, I did leave a link for you there to come over to the personal page. That's the only page where I do interaction and answer questions and shout outs. Hey to Corey Southworth, Melissa Begley, big kisses to you, and Miss Cleo, Lisa Marks, Pearl Dillard, and Jerry Pfeiffer. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, I'm excited, Bobby, that you're catching the show too. It's every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and past shows are always loaded up onto my YouTube channel, so I encourage you to go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. And I will leave a link in the comments on the Facebook page after the show in case you want to watch some of the past episodes. You can use that link and go right over to the YouTube channel and catch some of the old shows. Hey to Charles Center. Thanks for joining us. And Carrie Summers. So tonight's episode is going to be about Astral Parasites. Special shout out to Rolando. How are you, Guy? Hope you're doing okay. And so Astral Parasites are something that we don't hear a lot about, but there is some documentation about them and some different theories that are running around about astral parasites. It is kind of a good thing to know about these type of things, just in case you might become a victim of this. Hey to Sophia Lee Adams. Let me check the personal page really quick and invite people to come on over. Hey to Peggy Burris and Marquis Ford. If you guys want to join the live chat, hit that link and come on over to the personal page here. Special shout out to Michael Lawrence, my son. How are you, Guy? Hope you're doing all right. Thanks for joining us tonight. So let's talk about what astral parasites are exactly. They are collective groups of energetic entities that are parasitic in nature. And what do they feed off of is the next thing. They're not really harmful unless you become a victim of an infestation of these type of creatures. And what they basically do is collectively drain excess pools of energy. So, you know, they've put descriptions on the internet about what they look like, ranging from slug-like type of shapes to bug or spider-like type of shapes, and all the way to tentacle-like type of shapes. Now, my theory on this is that they're energy feeders, and so to look like a bug is not, well, that in my theory, that could be your brain or your mind making sense of the energetic shape, if that makes sense. I don't feel like they necessarily look like, you know, spiders or slugs or whatever, but it is, to me, it's your brain's way of making sense of the object or the energy that you're looking at. Again, if any of you guys have questions, just put them down in the comments and I'll try to catch those and answer them as they come up. A special shout out to Barry Brenniger, Ina, Sheila, Charlotte, Whitney, and Jennifer Oliver. Hey, how are you, girl? So another thing they described them as is like crab-like parasites. But again, I think that is just the brain's conceptualization of this type of thing. So how are these things formed, and what are they a product of? What are they feeding off of? So basically, the things, they're energy scavengers, and they feed off of several different things. And then we'll go into what type of people are susceptible to these creatures. So since they're energy scavengers, they feed off of things like leftover energies from old spells. So a lot of magicians and spell crafters are very susceptible to these type of creatures. Old spells are supposed to be disposed of properly, and that energy that's left, if the spell wasn't disposed of properly, creates a source that these astral parasites can feed off of. Certain types of sex magic, the leftover energy from that is something that astral parasites can certainly feed off of. Hey to Shauna Connors and Thinbola. I hope I said that right. And Pat Miley. So what they do is they feed off of these excess pools of energy, and they collectively try to break down consolidations of this type of energy. Now, most often in a human body, I don't know about other entities, but in a human body, they tend to attach to two areas in the majority, and that would be the heart chakra and the heart energy area and the genital area. So crabs, really. Really. So hey to Georgia. And Pearl says, do they leave you drained? Yes, absolutely drained. And there are some other things that they do. I'm going to go into that, of the symptoms of these things. So the genital area and the heart chakra area are the two areas that they classically will attach to. Now, what type of person, or how do people, what grouping of people are susceptible to this? They would be energy workers, people who deal with and manipulate energy, like Reiki practitioners, pranic healers, quantum touch healers. Anybody who does energy healing and manipulates energy or works with a lot of energy is susceptible to this type of parasite. Psychics are susceptible to this type of parasite because we're working with a person's energy. A person has to be open to a psychic reading to get one, because we need access to that energy to interpret and to channel. So psychics are definitely susceptible to astral parasites. Magicians that work with energy, and especially if they don't dispose of the energies that are created during magic, like thought forms and things like that. Hey to Will Jordan and Jill Jones. Melissa wants to know if holistic medicine practitioners, some can, I would say acupuncturists may be susceptible to the astral parasites because they're working with the energy channels. Ina wants to know if empaths are. Absolutely, empaths are very susceptible because their empath is feeling the energy field of another human being, or feeling the energy field around them. So they're very in tune to energy and can be very susceptible. Hey to Marquis and Lori, and special shout out to Barbara Bacon, and hey to Crystal Crazy. Peggy Thompson, something's already sucking my energy away. Well, I'm going to give you some really good tips on how to deal with astral parasites, so stay to the end of the show. Other people who are susceptible to these creatures are any kind of spell worker, especially, like I said, if you don't dispose of the magical working after the spell is done and you leave that excess energy out there. Specifically, same for hoodoo practitioners. And then the last classification are people who radiate a lot of trauma or a lot of energy, like people who are violent, people who are evil, people who are violent and mentally ill, and they're radiating a lot or producing a lot of energy, can be susceptible to astral parasites. Disorganized thought, or somebody who lives in a lot of chaotic energy, that chaos energy that doesn't go anywhere, is the perfect consolidation of energy for these creatures to feed off of. So there's quite a few people that are in that classification. Hey to Lori Lynn and Magic 6 over here on Instagram. Thanks for joining us. Let's do some quick waves to you guys. Thanks for joining us here, and don't forget, these shows are every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So these astral parasites can be picked up in several ways. One of the two ways that I did find, I'm not sure if I agree with these two ways, but because they were in the literature, I'm going to go ahead and present them to you. One way said that they were passed down through the bloodline to each successive generation, traumatizing the next until their spirits have been broken down enough for like a takeover of the astral parasite. The other way a person can pick up parasites is if they have visited a place of massive trauma. Let's say, like if you visited, I don't know, the gas chambers in Germany, that might be a place that would have a lot of astral parasites. Hey to Jay Lynn and Brittany Claire, thanks for joining us. So ways that I know of that you can pick up astral parasites is if you have been under psychic attack, and we just got done with the 3-part series on psychic attack and how to manage it and what to do. And if you guys want to watch those 3 episodes, they're on my YouTube channel, and I'll leave a link in the comments after the show so you can get to the YouTube channel. So Jerry says, can it be passed and make somebody else's life hectic? So Jerry, are you meaning passed from one person to another and then affected the recipient, the final recipients? Is that what you're asking? Just clarify that a little bit more in the comments for me so I can answer appropriately. So if you are susceptible or have had a psychic attack, what that means is your aura has punctures in it and the energy is leaking out. Especially, you know, remember we went over in one of the shows on psychic attack how you definitely have got to get some energy work done and repair the aura and the leaking of the energy out of it. But let's say you're not aware and you don't know, and you have this energy leak going on. That is a trail for these astral parasites to follow back and attach to you. So Jerry wants to know if it can be passed from one person to another, making somebody's life hectic. Only if that person has enough energy for the parasites to feed off of. Now, the person who has a leaky aura, definitely they're feeding off of that, okay? People who work with magic, ritual magic, spell casters, spell workers, people who do a lot of astral travel at night when they're sleeping, or people who do dream walking, because most of your energy is projected into the astral plane. And especially if you have a vibrant type of energy, that is like a moth to flame for these things to feed off of. So Debbie says, I have had bad things and good things happen paranormal. Tell us a little bit more about that, Debbie, if you can. Have you had any experience with astral parasites? Paige Denise wants to know if Gettysburg is an example of a traumatic place. Absolutely. Any type of Civil War battleground, a World War II battleground, where a lot of trauma and a lot of death, because you have a huge energetic imprint that is saturated into that area. And so you're definitely going to have astral parasites at that location for sure. So Jerry says, woman's life is like stressed out, no energy, and she has been in constant trauma. Yes, that would definitely be a person who most likely has astral parasites. Hi to Paula Brown and George McKinney. Thanks for being here. Nice to see you, George. Another thing that makes you susceptible or is a causative factor for astral parasites is remote viewing. If you do a lot of remote viewing, you can be a prime target for this type of parasite. Now, I had a list of symptoms. Let me see if I can go back and find where those list of symptoms are, because I want to definitely give you those. I don't want to miss anything here because it kind of goes together really well. A lot of negative emotions, perpetuating drama or trauma, paranoid thoughts. These are all kind of symptoms or signposts of being under attack by a astral parasite. Also, people who have dreams about bugs, a lot of bugs, bugs particularly attacking them, may be at risk for astral parasites. So kind of pay attention to your dreams, you know, pay attention to your energy field. If you feel like you're being fed off of, definitely go to an energy worker, have this cleansing done, and get some help with these things. So Debbie says, a vase of peacock feathers flew across the room and hit her. Wow. My daughter, she was 11, and I had the bedroom door being pounded on and something trying to get in, and we were holding it and was forcing it, then it stopped. I was bending over and was kicked and went headfirst into the fridge. Wow, that's a lot of activity. So have you ever done a cleansing, Debbie, on the place that you're in to see if it makes any difference in the activity? Hey to Risha, and Jerry says, like, watching TV shows about ghosts and stuff can open you up. It can open you up. I do find that most people, though, are already kind of reading about that type of thing and sort of opening the third eye anyway, and really linking with watching ghost hunting stuff can definitely just finish opening up. So Debbie says she moved away from the place that had all the activity. That sounds like I would definitely try to move too. Okay, so let's go into what do we do with these things and how do we prevent parasites from infecting us, and what do we do after we find out, gosh, you know, I may have these. The best way to prevent is, of course, by practicing psychic protection, doing regular cleansings of your aura and your house or your property, but also making sure that you get regular energy work to where you're not having any energy leak, because that's just like a trail of honey for the bees to come in. So yeah, definitely, these are things I'm going to present to you to work with if you've had an attack by an astral group of parasites. Now, this was one reference that I found. Not sure if I agree with it or not, and they did not say exactly how to use it. But one referenced using wormwood to protect from energetic parasites, but it didn't say how to use that. So I'm going to present things that I know how to use. Also, so things that you can do. Get the energy work done. Make sure that your aura is sealed up and you don't have any energy leaks. Number one. Number two, if your aura is good to go, you don't have any leaks, and let's say you suspect that you have some astral parasites, what you want to do is run a magnet over your aura like a smudge, over your arms, head, torso, legs, front and back. Okay, just run a magnet. It needs to be about that big, I'd say, to pull those things off of there. So Debbie says, oh, hey to Taya. Hey, Taya. And Randy, thanks for joining us. So Debbie says, I had a grayish looking cloud zoom through my room and go into the closet. My cat saw it too. Then it rustled bags in the closet. That night, my dad died, and I found out the next morning. So Debbie, maybe the grayish looking cloud, do you think that might have possibly been his spirit or another spirit associated with that? Let us know in the comments. And Jaylyn says, sounds like I need to find myself an energy workers close by. Right, Jaylyn. Anybody who does pranic healing or Reiki would be perfect for that. Hey to Lauren. And Paula wants to know, do I do energy work? I do a type of energy work that's my own, and I call it nature resonance healing. And it's my own style of energy work. And I incorporate a lot of natural sources into that, like plants and gemstones, and I use the energies from those items along in the energy healing. A special shout out to Yasmin, and let's see, over here on Instagram. Hey guys. So let's continue on with the solutions for these parasites. So we talked about running the magnets over, and places you can get a magnet would be on Amazon. You can get them off of Wish, and it can be anything as simple as, the magnets that you can put your steak knives or your cutting knives, hang them on a wall. You can get one of those long rods like that and just use it, and that's probably the easiest thing to do. Another thing that you can use, and what this does is it provides a different source for the parasites to feed off of, and in a way it's more bountiful than your energy. And so what the parasites do is abandon your energy for this type of energy, and that's an EM pump. So a lot of you that do ghost hunting, you know what an EM pump is, and it produces energy from a rotating magnet. So you can simply use an EM pump in the hopes that they go for it instead of you. Now, when you use an EM pump in ghost hunting, and this can be kind of tricky, a lot of times the EM pump can increase the amount of EVPs you get, the amount of activity that you perceive. But because astral parasites love EM pumps, I've always been in question of using them in a ghost hunt because the activity might be attributable to the astral parasites instead of true spirits. And if you're not a medium, you may not know the difference. So that's something to consider. So Jaylyn says, my 3-year-old son has something that follows him around, I believe. I captured a photo of him with a white mist around his head and a white ball of light on his shoulder. That absolutely sounds like something is following him, especially if it's in successive pictures. finding out what or who it is another thing. I'll send a couple of those pictures to me if you would on Messenger, Jalen. I'll take a look at them and see if I can just preliminarily see if it's a family member or not. So Debbie says, my hair was standing on end. I was scared and the cats did not move, just stared. After I got the nerve to look in the closet, obviously didn't see anything. And this is my new apartment that I had moved in. Don't know if it was my dad saying goodbye. I don't know what it was or what to believe. People keep telling me I need to use sage to clean my apartment, but I don't know what to think. Definitely saging your apartment is a good thing to do. And when you go through there, you can say, incant something like, spirits from my family may stay, but everything else here must go. And that way you're not disrupting the spirits from your family that might be in and around you. So Debbie Jalen says she's also had white mist and pictures around her grandkids. Maybe you guys could compare notes on these type of things and see if we can come up with some answers. So running a magnet over the aura, using an EM pump. They do reference some things like healer's gold is also known as Apache's gold. Again, like the wormwood, they didn't say exactly how to use these things, only that that they were used as a protective agent against astral parasites. So I'm assuming you might want to carry those items with you. So now let's go over some other things that work for astral parasites. If you're going to use a smudge, I recommend a rosemary smudge. Now, you cannot find those. You almost have to make those. You can get some charcoal and the incense charcoal and use dried rosemary on the top of it, and then smudge your apartment or your house or property with that. And that definitely causes them to detach and disperse. If you can't use the smudge and you can't use smoke, let's say you're elderly, you're on oxygen and you can't burn anything, you can use a mild spray, very mild, especially and only if you're not sensitive to it, of pine essential oil. Pine is a very good one to use. Bergamot essential oil or lemon essential oil. Now, if you don't have the essential oils, you can certainly use the dried substances of bergamot, pine, and lemon, just like the rosemary, on top of the incense charcoal. Sheila wants to know, could you burn wormwood? I really don't know if that's advisable, Sheila. You're going to have to do some research on that and find out if you can burn wormwood. It might not be a great idea. My gut feeling is probably not. So we kind of go with things we know that are okay to use on charcoal incense, like dried rosemary, dried pine needles, dried bergamot, and the dried lemon peel. You can definitely use those. And if you, like I said, if you can't burn things, you can put those in a spray and use those. Sage will do. It's not as effective as the rosemary. Rosemary is very effective at loosening these astral parasites and making them detach from the aura. So gemstones, let's go over some of the gemstones that we can use. Hematite, and especially if it's magnetized. Now, natural hematite is non-magnetic, but there is a hematite that is available on the market that is magnetized, and you're going to carry that. You can use that to comb the aura out, like we were talking about using the magnet earlier. You can use the magnetized hematite for that. smoky quartz is an excellent stone for prevention and removal of the astral parasites. Another thing is just plain quartz crystal, and the reason being is it conducts electromagnetic energy, and that's kind of what these things feed off of, and so that's very instrumental in detachment and protection from jet, because it contains you can produce an electromagnetic charge in jet. If you rub the stone on like silk or something, you can build up an electrostatic charge, and you can use that sort of like an EM pump to get those things off of you. Another thing about the smoky quartz is you can ground yourself with that smoky quartz as well. Hey to Danae and George, thanks for joining us. Good to see you, Danae. So any stone that you use, you're really going to have to cleanse it afterwards. The way that I like to cleanse the gemstones is to simply set them out on the earth overnight, and it grounds out all the negative energy, grounds out those, you know, if it's picked up astral parasites, if you've used it for removal, it will ground those out. And Danny Ray wants to know, how do I work on my energy? A lot of people who already know Reiki can do self-healing. So Danae, I would look into learning how to do Reiki on yourself. And certainly there is a practitioner on Facebook, Steve Reiki Murray, and I think that he has some programs that I'm going to recommend that you learn how to do Reiki for yourself, and that way you can take care of any kind of leaks that you might have in the aura, and definitely prevent that from happening and prevent you from being a target of these astral parasites. So that's pretty much a basic look at them, a basic way to prevent it, and a basic way to get rid of these. For gemstones, guys, I always recommend getting yours over at Crystal Crazy and Barbara Bacon's shop. She has such a wonderfully charged gemstones, and they would be absolutely very efficacious at removal of astral parasites. So Danny says, it's very negative and I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I'm just so angry, even though I'm stressed and I'm depressed. But I was told there was a route on me. How about messaging me, Danny, a little bit more details about what happened so that I can help you find a solution to that. So the first thing I'm definitely going to suggest is that you learn how to do the Reiki. And I will leave a link to Steve Reiki Murray's Facebook page in the comments. And anybody who wants to learn that themselves, this is a very good place to do that. Oh, root. That you had a root, Danny, that you had a root on you. Okay, we need to know a little bit more. So just go on to Messenger and we'll find out what to do. All right, you guys, that's the end of the show. Remember, next Monday, I'm taking off because I'm having surgery next Monday. And I will be back the following Monday. And I'm going to post a show schedule so you can see what's coming up for the rest of June. It's going to be exciting. Until then, kisses from Kentucky, and I will see you on the Monday after the next Monday. Bye, guys.